All right, we're doing some diagnostic work. We have a couple of different things, but we're going to start out. We've got a back pressure probe. Go ahead and rev it, James. One more. All right, that's good. I know the catalysts are not the restriction on this, but we definitely have something restricted going back. Thankfully, James was able to hear kind of that hissing noise. Really, we should have maybe a little rise in back pressure, but that's definitely too much. We know that it has a new long block in there. It's been, I think, a little while. We do have some significant leakage on this engine, so I'm going to raise it up here in a minute and kind of show you, but this valve cover looks like there's some power steering leakage here. Potentially front cover as well. So not related to the ruttability issue, but that's something that needs to be factored in on, you know, what we're going to do with it. It does have an intake runner control circuit code for stuck closed. Now what an intake runner control is, or IMRC, is it lengthens and shortens the intake runners, and you can actually kind of see them in the intake system on this particular 543 valve. And so when you have a longer or shorter intake and these flaps basically open and close that run along the portion between the manifold and the cylinder head, it'll either give you more torque at low RPM or more horsepower at high RPM. So depending on the situation, that's going to cause a performance issue as well. And all of these things that we're talking about is going to affect how the transmission shift strategy is. So the one thing that I was a little concerned about, and we cycled the key here, but the barometric pressure reading is a little low for what I'd like to see. We do have a couple catalyst codes and that intake runner control code. But just bear with me as I kind of monologue as we raise this vehicle up. We have several things going on, and not one thing is just going to take care of any of the diagnostic issues, I guess, that we're looking for. But all this is going to affect how that transmission shifts. So we have to get the exhaust flowing correctly. And I'm going to venture to say what I would, I guess, think that would be our best approach would be to cut the muffler off, leave the probe hooked up, and see whether we have a flow improvement then. And then secondarily, if that's what's going on with it, it's obviously going to need a muffler. We do also have quite a bit of play here in the spider and the pinion as far as the ring and pinion gear mesh. So that's going to be part of it. But let's see if I can turn some light on as we kind of inspect some of this. So it's nothing that I'm super crazy concerned about, but a thunk as you take off, that's what I'm going to attribute it to. I know this is probably not a big concern, but the rear parking brakes are pretty well non-operational. The arms are actually gone. Something I did notice here, the vent for the rear diff, the hose is bad, so I don't know if you ever use this to put a boat in and out of the water, but that would be a concern. As well as kind of as we walk forward here, you can actually see where there it is, where I'm backed into, checking back pressure there. But this thing's got quite a few oil leaks going on. So not really a, factor of why it's here, but definitely something that's gonna be a concern going forward as we kind of look through here. So that's my initial checkout on this 04. We have some slack in the rear end. We need to investigate this, and it's probably going to need an intake manifold to fix the intake runner control, and then transmission diagnostics can happen. Until the engine runs correctly, the transmission is going to respond to the engine. And so when it's not right, your transmission's never going to be right. So I can't really diagnose one without fixing the other. I hope this makes sense out there if you've got an F-150.